We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com.
Here we go. Mike L. asking questions. Mike is looking for a new subwoofer. His setup is in a spare bedroom that's 14 feet long, 10 feet wide, 8 feet high. His maximum budget is $550, although he's okay if there's shipping on top of that. And he'd like this new subwoofer to play below 20 hertz. How much below, and what do you mean by play? There's a chance he'll be moving this setup to a larger space at some point, so it would be nice if the sub could cope with that. And this is a dedicated theater, so the physical size of the subwoofer isn't much of a concern for him. He's been considering the HSU VTF-2 MK5, or the Rhythmic LV12R. Is one of those clearly a better choice than the other? Is there some other brand and model he should be considering instead of either of those? Hey, guess what brand name Rob's going to mention?
Well, strictly because it's actually the least expensive once you factor in shipping.
Right.
SVS does have their PB1000, which for this room size would absolutely be 100% fine.
Rock 'em sock 'em at $500 exactly.
Yeah, that one's $500 with the shipping included.
Yeah, so you're under budget.
It ends up being the least expensive out of those three, and it would totally work in this room size. And in a larger room in the future, the nice thing about SVS is that even if you go to a room that's so large, you're exceeding the output capabilities of the sub, their subs, because of their excellent DSP protection, they play as loud as they possibly can and then just politely refuse to play any louder. They don't bottom out, they don't distort badly, so that's a really nice safety feature. So that would be a perfectly fine choice, but you can't go wrong with any of these three. I really got to be honest. You cannot go wrong.
No, none of these are terrible choices.
Heavens no. They're all good choices. They're all outright good choices. Now, I do want to applaud HSU with their Mark V version of the VTF-2. They've stepped that model up a little bit. They gave it a little bit more amplifier power. They gave it some larger ports. They gave it even more port tuning than it had before, which it already, VTF stands for variable tuning. So, they stepped up that model. I'm quite impressed by the specifications of that VTF-2 Mark V. That's a very nice subwoofer that's within the price range you're looking for. So I almost kind of lean that way because I really like the looks of what they've done with that. But you 100% can't go wrong. You get a PB1000, an HSU VTF-2 Mark V, or a Rhythmic LV12R. You're going to be happy with any of those. Right. They will all do the job very nicely in this room.
Can we address this magic number of 20 hertz? Because for me, I think a lot of people get hung up on that number as being something that if you achieve lower, you've reached some nirvana level of bass, or that there is some magical sounds down there you're missing that's going to do something special to you. And to get something that actually plays below 20 and really makes any difference in your experience, is that something you can really honestly do, that something will really sound different?
Oh, I mean, it can be done. It's just, it's exceedingly rare to have any content below 20 hertz. You literally cannot hear it. It is subsonic. Your ears do not experience it. But we are talking about pressure. It is literal air pressurization. So there is such a thing as playing some infrasonic note, 10 hertz or something like that, and physically feeling the air move. I mean, it's just a fact that can happen. So, I mean, there are things on YouTube, people doing it. There's one particular scene, a helicopter attack, and there's this one gigantic thudding, I think it's 12 hertz thing that goes off. And so they put 15, 18-inch drivers into a tiny little home theater and, practically deafened themselves because you can't hear it, but the pressure alone was enough to, scare the, bejesus out of you there. So, that exists, but as far as what you can hear, you can't hear anything lower than 20 hertz. But I mean, all of these reach down linearly to 20 hertz. Yeah. So that's what you need. They're all producing some bass below that if you really, really want it. for whatever reason.
So again, what's he say? He'd like it to play below 20. He didn't say it needs to be linear below 20 or so. I mean, there's a big difference between.
I think he wants to see it on a graph. I think that's what he wants.
I gotcha. And so your 19 hertz can be achieved. I think with any of these to some extent, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So the HSU VTF-2 MK5 appears to offer more in the way of tuning options, like its port plugs and ability to be run as a sealed subwoofer. Are those good benefits to have?
If it's something you want to play with.
Yeah. It isn't harmful.
Oh, definitely not. I will say for some people it can be harmful.
Yeah, if you go messing around with it and you actually ruin your sound, or at least, you know.
Well, I mean, you can just get in the situation where you have so many options available to you, you never settle on anything, if that's your personality.
And that's mine.
Potentially be somewhat harmful to you. You just can't stop tweaking it. But yeah, in general,
that's what she said.
Okay. In general, it's not a bad idea to have, particularly if you don't have a ton of ways to adjust the bass response in other parts of your system. If you have a fairly basic receiver with fairly basic room correction, if you don't have anything external like a mini DSP or something like that, then having the tuning available on the subwoofer itself can help you achieve more linear extension.
Sure.
So in that sense, like I said, it seems like he's kind of leaning towards the HSU. That's the way his email read. And I'm like, if that's the one you're leaning towards, I say go for it, because I'm very impressed by that one too.
Yeah, good stuff. His current front left-right speakers are ELAC Debut B6. He'd like to add a center, but he's got his eye on the ELAC Uni-Fi UC5 with its concentric tweeter and mid-range driver. He knows they are different series, but they're both ELAC and both designed by Andrew Jones, so will they offer a close timbre match? Or timbre match?
So, I mean, according to Andrew Jones, yes. According to most of the people who have heard, because I haven't heard the Uni-Fi series, I don't know what they sound like.
Right.
I don't doubt that they sound a lot like an Andrew Jones speaker. That would make a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't foresee you having a huge problem there.
Right.
That wouldn't be my expectation. This isn't going to something wildly different where I would say, oh, I expect you to have a timbre mismatch problem. I'll bet if you put them side by side and A/B compared them that they don't sound identical, but then your center speaker never sounds identical to your front left rights anyway, simply because of its positioning.
Right. It's so rare to have content in something that shows off exact timbre match.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's so rare. So probably you're fine if you like it, man. Good speaker.
If this is what you want to do, if this is what you have in mind, I'm not going to stop you on that one. I think you should be fine doing that.
There you go. Go for it.
Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.